Hello, Watem here, welcome back to some more Umineko When Seagulls Cry. Let us continue. His cute ears, his bright red muffler. It came off easily, so One-chan faithfully rewrapped it all the time, didn't she?
Sakutaro, わかる？私たちが、わかる？おりょおりょマモンエンジェ
With a sleepy face, as though waking up from a long slumber, Sakutaro looked all around him as he spoke.
お久しぶりね、サクタロ。あなたを私の力で呼び出すのは、きっとこれが初めてだわ。そして今や、私にしか呼び出せない。ウリュウ。
Those words might have been a bit cruel. Sakutaro's face clouded over.
かつての私は、あなたを否定した。その私があなたを呼び出したということは、あなたの存在を、私が認めたということ。いいの？僕は、エンジェの世界に呼び出されてもいいの？
His eyes were a bit frightened. It was only natural. I, who had played with him like a friend before, had suddenly denied him and tried to burn him with a magic-resisting toxin. It was only natural that he was scared.
謝るわ。あの日のこと。マモンにも。そして、みんなにも。
At some point, the rest of the seven sisters had gathered on the deck. No, they're always there. Always by my side. As long as I acknowledge that it's okay for them to be there, they'll always appear.
あなたたちは確かに存在するわ。ルシファーも、レビアタンも、サタンも、ベルフェゴールも、マモンも、ベルゼブブも、アスモデウスも、そして、サクタロウも。よろしいのですか？エンジェ様はベアトリーチェ様に挑もうというお方。魔女を否定される立場にあられるお方が我らを認めてもよろしいのですか？
He acknowledges which is a bit nice for Beatrice did it.
私の世界にとって魔法が存在するかどうかは悪いけど保留させてもらうわ。私自身が魔法の存在を認めたわけじゃない。なのに我らを認めるという矛盾はどういうことです？魔法は信じる人には存在するってことよ。私が信じなくても誰かが信じたならその人の世界には魔法が存在するわ。それは私が魔法を信じたって信じなくたって何の干渉も受けない。いいえ、受けてはいけないのよ。その誰かは胸を張って自らの魔法を信じればいいのよ。そして私はそれを認める。だからあなたたちが存在しても全然おかしくはないのよ。なかなかの詭弁ですが面白い解釈かと。
エンジェ様のそれは悪魔の証明そのものでしょう。
悪魔の証明？
だって
I feel like it isn't quite the same.
悪魔の存在を証明するには悪魔を連れてくればいいけれど、悪魔の存在を否定することだけは不可能だから
そして私たちはここにいる。つまりそれはエンジェ様が魔法を信じようと信じまいと私たちの存在は揺るがないということ。
無流エンジから半魔法の毒が消えていく。
本当だわ。魔法を否定する立場なのにどうして？
Interesting.
それは多分尊重し 認めるという心を知ったからだわ。今の私にならマリアお姉ちゃん、そしてベアトリーチェの魔法の深淵も理解できるかもしれない。
In the past, I didn't believe in things like magic. Thinking that something like that couldn't exist, I acted like I was closing my eyes tightly and couldn't see anything. But now, I'm different. I get the feeling I can look right at the thing called magic and close in on its true nature.
惜しいわ。この現代にこれだけ半魔法の毒素の抜けた人間なんて本当に稀よ。魔女に向いた稀有な才能なのに。
そうね。今のエンジェ様が魔女を目指してくださったなら、ベアトリーチェ様に及ぶかもしれない大魔女に成長されたかもしれないのに。
それでも我らの存在を認めてくださった我らの主である。おそらくエンジェ様が我らの最後の主となるだろう。最後の奉公と思い尽力しようではないか。
ブーなのにエンジェ様自身がまだ魔法を信じてくれないのが納得いかない。エンジェ様、ついでに魔法も認めてくださいよ。せっかくの主なのに魔女じゃないなんてなんだかもったいない。最高の魔女になれる逸材なのに、その目的が魔女を撃つことだなんて惜しいです。まあそれもエンジェ様の人生で生き方でそうと決めた世界ならば、それは私たちにとやかく口出しできることではないわけですが。
私を理解してくれてありがとう。そうね。魔法が私にとって存在するかどうか、それは私が決めることだわ。世界のどこかに魔法が実在したとしてもしなかったとしてもね。
When I think about it, this world is so vast and yet so small. Billions of people live here on Earth. I probably won't meet even 1% of those people. However, the average person will be, what, I think it's 7 degrees separation? Basically, the average amount of, like, knowing from one person to the next, yeah. Basically, each degree of separation is one person that you know. And so you can go down a whole chain of people to get to basically anyone in the world within about 7 steps. So, I mean, who knows? You might know a friend who knows a friend who knows a royal family somewhere. It's kind of interesting, some of the maths that gets involved in that. But yeah, anyway, another fun fact, your friends on average have more friends than you. Because of basically any friend that you have that has a large amount of friends will end up then counting multiple times. Yeah. It's an interesting counting thing, because, yeah, some of your friends will be counted multiple times from your friends, and so that will increase the average number. And it's a weird thing. It's also like how the closest planet on average to the Earth isn't Mars, isn't Venus, it's Mercury. In fact, every planet in the solar system, apart from Mercury itself, it's the closest planet to it on average is Mercury. Mercury's closest planet on average is Venus, though. In any case, continuing on from that sidetrack, even so, I will speak of a world, my world, which doesn't even know 1% of the world.
私が知らない世界の法則を私に否定する資格なんてない。だから私の世界に魔法が存在しないからといって私の知らない世界に魔法が存在することまでを否定することはできない。まさに悪魔の証明というわけだわ。いえ、業に入りては業に従えというべきかしら。
I can be confident in the world I know. So even if that's denied by a complete stranger who doesn't know a thing about my world, that's nothing to worry about. And in the same way, I've got no right to deny a world I don't know, just because I don't know about it.
だから私は自分の世界に魔法があるかないかを問わずに。
So, kind of going back to Devil's Proofs and Limited Worlds, that is kind of a thing in mathematics. So, one of the ways to prove something is a proof by exhaustion. Basically, you go through an exhaustive list of all the possibilities and prove that it applies to them. Now that's especially useful in a limited world. So if your world, in quotes, is let's say all numbers between 0 and 10, and you can prove things for that set, basically. And then you can draw conclusions from that, and stuff can keep going forwards. Anyway, yeah. I remember that being useful in something, I can't quite remember what it was. I mean, one common set of limited worlds in a way is what's it called? The modulus kind of ones. Basically, you limit your number system to being 0 through, let's say, modulus 8, 0 to 7. And so 9 and 1 would be congruent in that system, because once you get up to 7, you go up 1, you basically go all the way back down, you can... What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, you go back down to 0, and then you go up to from 8 to 9, you then go from 0 to 1. So 1 would be congruent to 9. So basically modulus is you divide a number by your division. Basically you do the division, but then you, instead of looking at the division part, you look at the remainder. And it can be quite useful, especially in maths and cryptography. Anyway, I've been sidetracked way too much.
マリアお姉ちゃんが教えてくれた魔法を否定することなんてできやしない。
無理だって見たことがなくても魔法は存在するんだもん。
ええ、だからすでに言っている通り、魔女同盟マリアージュ・ソルシエルの友人であるあなたたちの存在もまた私にも、そして誰にも否定することなんてできないわけ。
I proclaim that most important part again. Even though the sea breeze and the crashing of the waves were noisy, there was a time of silence. And so, in a way, if we kind of apply that theory to the fragment that they're in, they don't necessarily need to prove that magic doesn't exist. They just need to prove that magic doesn't exist in the fragment. Therefore, magic... And they don't technically even need to do that, they just need to prove that magic wasn't involved, or it wasn't necessary for the murders. Technically magic could be there, it just doesn't need to be involved in the murders for Battler to have a way of getting out of it. Beatrice just needs to prove that something was caused by magic. But yeah, it's not going to have much impact or really be noticeable, and Battler can probably just deny it if it's something else. Both Sakataro and the Seven Sisters of Purgatory reflected upon my words, and probably I did too. Does magic exist? Do witches exist? While ignoring that the answer would be for my own world, I acknowledged their existence. That contradiction was what I proclaimed so boldly.
ありがとう、エンジェ。
So another really useful world is binary, so when your limit is to 0 and 1. And you can limit to larger powers of 2 as well, depending on your needs. It gives you some interesting things with like Boolean algebra, giving you 1 plus 1, it depends which type of plus you're using, but 1 plus 1 equals 1, or 1 plus 1 equals 0. Or 1 times 1 is equal to 1. All the multiplication stuff's the same as usual. It's mainly just the addition stuff in binary. Anyway.
そこまでお認めになったなら、魔女もお認めになって。いえ、愚問でした。その問いに対する答えを、すでにエンジェ様は明確にお持ちだ。
ごめんね。魔女がこの世界のどこかにいるかもしれないことを私は認めるけれど。
You reject their existence in the game?
でも、私の世界は揺るがない。
魔女も魔法も認めない。六軒島の真実は必ず暴いてみせる。でしょ？
ええ。それが私の世界よ。仮に本当に魔女が存在したとしても、私の世界では認めないわ。当の魔女にどれだけ言い寄られたとしてもね。
エンジェ様のお立場は魔女を撃つこと。そして、そのお気持ちにいささかの揺らぎもないこと、よくわかりました。我らはエンジェ様の家具、煉獄の七姉妹。いつでもおそばに。お役に立てる日が来るのを、いつまでもお待ち申し上げております。
エンジェ様が魔法を信じてくれない以上、話し相手くらいにしかなれないけれど。
今は十分よ。私たちに存在できる余地を残してくださった。それだけで私たちはエンジェ様に感謝し認めるべきだわ。
つまり私たちはまたみんなといられるんだね。
Oh, that Maria. Unless.
サクタロー、モフモフさせて。
When Sakataro was overcome with emotions and tears came to his eyes, the seven sisters closed in and mobbed him. They were also celebrating along this reunion. Their existence is permitted. They're definitely capable of existing here. No, even if I don't permit it, they can exist. Because I acknowledged them, they showed their reunion's joy to me as well. As I watched over that scene, I reflected over what this journey of mine meant.
これでみんなには許してもらえたかしら。
十分ですよ。私たちは家具。呼び出してもらえるだけで、おそばにいることを許されるだけで嬉しいのですから。ウリュウ、エンジェ、本当にありがとう。
そういえば、どうして私には作太郎が呼び出せたのかしら。
Well, you were entered into Maria's Saucier.
いいえ、逆ね。どうしてお姉ちゃんには作太郎が呼び出せなかったのかしら。
I'm going to assume that it's because all the explanation that they're going to give is Maria is Witch of Origins, and so she's able to create new things, but that's creating new things. Meanwhile, Anjay will be, I've forgotten what it's called, but bring them back to life. Maria One-chan had despaired, thinking that Sakataro had died, which meant she hadn't been able to summon him like this anymore. In the past, One-chan said it was more advantageous in summoning to have a vessel. However, a vessel is like training wheels, and it shouldn't be absolutely necessary. In other words, even if a stuffed animal lion that was Sakataro's vessel didn't exist, it should have been possible to summon him. Maybe, alternatively, Maria thinking that his existence is being denied by her mother? No, when you put it like that, it's even a little doubtful whether summoned things can be limited by life and death. Moreover, Sakataro should have been an especially important friend to Maria One-chan. She should have been able to strive hard to summon him one more time. It certainly was sad that the original stuffed animal vessel had been torn apart. But why did he die and become impossible to summon again?
それは、マリアがあの時、僕のぬいぐるみが破れたのを見て、僕が死んでしまったと決めてしまったから。
魔法の存在と同じなんです。マリア教の世界でサク太郎が死んでしまったことになったなら、彼女の世界ではサク太郎は存在できない。
ウリュウ。
The shock of having her beloved stuffed animal torn apart had left a wound in her heart, serious enough to prevent her from summoning her irreplaceable close friend. In Maria One-chan's eyes, Sakataro had died. But even if Sakataro can exist like this to me, it cannot exist before her.
僕はいつもマリアと一緒にいたんだよ。泣いてるマリアのすぐ近くで、泣かないでってずっと言ってたんだよ。でも、マリアには僕の姿も声も何も届かなくて。
Although now for a different reason than before. Sakataro hung his head, looking sad.
マリアージュ・ソルシエルはあの事件の後、急に性格を変えていくの。それまでの同盟は和やかなものだった。でも事件後は憎い誰かをいかにして呪うかという物騒なものばかり。お姉ちゃんの日記はあからさまに様変わりしていくの。
Interesting. A diary is a mirror that reflects one's heart as it is. Probably showed the personality called Maria die. And be reborn as the evil witch personality, Rhea. When she buried that diary in hatred and sadness, her heart surely wasn't satisfied. Because it wasn't satisfied, she had to bury it with hatred and sadness. And while still unsatisfied, she met with death. I wonder if her unsatisfied soul has a hole opened in its chest from sadness, even now, and continually wanders, dripping tears down and calling Sakataro's name.
あなたがお姉ちゃんには必要なのよ。
ウリュウ。
どうしたらあなたをマリアお姉ちゃんの世界で蘇らせられるの？その方法がわかれば、私はお姉ちゃんを救うことができる。それが私に課せられた贖罪の方法なのよ。どうすればサク太郎は蘇るの？
マリアにとって僕のよりしろは特に重要な意味を持ってたから。
よりしろ。つまりライオンのぬいぐるみを蘇らせることができれば。
でも 僕のぬいぐるみはローザママの手作りだからローザママにしか作れない。
Inside the diary, Maria One-chan had asked this of Beatrice and was refused for that reason. The magical significance of a stuffed animal being unique and handmade is very large. Then, if we could make the same thing once more, but Aunt Rosa is already gone from this world. Can't make the same thing again.
同じぬいぐるみをもう一つ作ってあったとか、そういうことはないの？
Nope.
彼はマリア教の誕生日プレゼントのために作られた世界でたった一つのぬいぐるみ。手作りでたった一つのよりしろなんです。だから大きな魔力を秘めているんです。そして失われたらもう二度と手に入らない。
Find the original and sew it back together?
蘇らない。ウリュウ。
That's the only real possibility I can think of. But she knew that. Maria One-chan watched that stuffed animal, which was unique in that world, get torn apart and despaired. Because it was the only one of its kind in the world, and she couldn't permit a compromise such as buying another one. She despaired from the bottom of her heart.
でも、作太郎はここにいるわ。よりしろなんかなくても、ここにいる。私がそれを認めているから、私の世界では確かに存在する。マリアお姉ちゃんが認めなくても、それは否定できない。そうよね。
理屈ではそうですが、同じ理屈でマリア教にそれを認めさせることもまた困難かと思います。マリア、僕は死んでないよ。ここにいるのに。ウリュウ。
きっと六軒島でマリアお姉ちゃんに私は再会できると思うの。
And Donnie-chan?
そして私は何が何でもお姉ちゃんの中のあなたを蘇らせて再会させるわ。
できるの？
難しいでしょうね。魔女同盟に誘われた私が意味を理解できず拒絶してしまったのと同じように、彼女もまたあなたの存在を拒絶するかもしれない。でもやるしかないわ。それが私にできる唯一の罪滅ぼしなのよ。
エンジ様。
六軒島で何が待つのか。
Indeed.
そして何が起こるのか、何ができるのか。あるいは何も起こらないのかもしれないけれど、全ての始まりであるあの島こそがこの旅の終着点なのよ。
But is it? Is it really? Or is it for which world is the final destination?
私はあなたたちを連れて魔女の島へ、六軒島へ帰らなければならない。
Even though the rays of the sun had been so strong, at some point clouds had started to hang down. The spray that hit my cheek might not all have come from crashing waves.
エンジェさん、軽く一雨来そうですぜ。下へ降りた方がいいんじゃないですか？
Amakusa called out to me with an expression that said, "Oh, you're still here?" When I looked up, I saw that the island silhouette had gotten much larger. We might reach land very soon. I remembered that the weather report had mentioned scattered rains. The sky wasn't dark enough for rain clouds. It'll probably be just for a short time. Even though the rain was light enough not to be a pain. Having rain start to fall as we approached the island felt like some kind of fate. It was raining on October 4th, 1986 as well. Approaching the Rokkenjima of that day, and not just in distance. I went back down with Amakusa. He was carrying what looked like a really large and heavy golf bag. It was something Amakusa had brought back with him on a day when we'd split up. I didn't inquire as to its contents, but it was hard to imagine that they were anything peaceful.
中身はあえて聞かないけど、重そうね。
どうしてこいつらは重くてかなわないのか。
Hmm.
フランス人の教官が面白いことを教えてくれました。何でもこいつらは重くあるべきだそうなんです。何しろ人の命は地球より重いんですから、こいつらはもっと重くて叱るべきなんだとか。
使う機会がないといいわね。
ないといいですな。
Makusa set the golf bag like luggage down beside him. And I think on that note I will be ending it there for today. Okay. Yeah, we'll find out what perspective, what time this is next time. I hope you've all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until then, see ya.